Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Muhammad Zahid, and today I will share a few words with you about coronary circulation. Well, the heart is like a mother. It pumps blood to all of the body, all the tissues in the body for their metabolic needs. But the heart itself needs blood for its own metabolic needs, and that blood is supplied by way of the two coronary arteries. We have the left coronary artery and we have the right coronary artery. The left coronary artery supplies much of the interior and lateral surfaces of the left ventricle, okay, and the right coronary artery, in addition to the right ventricle, supplies much of the posterior surface of the left ventricle as well. And there are, in between the two coronary arteries, there are a few collateral channels which are of importance. Whenever the main stem coronary arteries get blocked, blood can flow through those collateral channels. Well, normally during resting conditions, both the coronary arteries supply about 225 ml per minute of blood to the heart, and that equates to about 5% of the entire cardiac output, okay. But during activity, particularly during strenuous exercise in a young adult, the cardiac output may increase by 4 folds to 7 folds depending upon the severity of the activity we are engaged in. And accordingly, the work output of the heart too increases, okay. And there is a disproportion between the increase in cardiac output and increase in the work output of the heart, because the heart has to pump blood against resistance, okay, and the work output of the heart therefore may increase by 6 folds to 9 folds. And at the same time, the coronary blood flow too increases to meet the increased metabolic needs in such a situation, but the increase in coronary blood flow is hardly 3 to 4 folds, okay. If you compare this 3 to 4 folds increase in coronary blood flow to the 4 to 7 folds increase in the cardiac output, we can easily notice that there is quite a disproportion between the increase in cardiac output that the heart has to offer and the increase in coronary blood flow that is possible under such situations. Well, the coronary blood vessels are actually filled during diastole, okay, and therefore the blood flow in the coronary arteries increase during diastole, reaches a certain peak and then gradually declines, okay. But during systole, that is the contraction of the myocardium, there is a sharp dip in the amount of blood flowing in the coronary arteries. Now this is in contradiction to popular belief. While the heart is contracting, obviously it will need more blood because it is working hard. So in that situation, we expect an increase in coronary blood flow, but the actual situation is quite the opposite. There is actually a decrease or a dip in the amount of blood flowing in the coronary arteries during ventricular contraction. This is all because while the heart is contracting, the coronary arteries, particularly their intramural parts, those parts of the artery which run through the muscle mass of the heart, are actually compressed, okay. Therefore the blood flow in coronary arteries actually decrease during ventricular contraction, and thereafter there is a sharp increase while the heart is relaxing, that is during the diastole. This is the same information. Well, as we discussed earlier, that the coronary blood flow increases in proportion to the severity of the activity we are engaged in. A strenuous activity of certain physical activity demands increase in coronary blood flow, and there must be a certain form of regulation in such settings, and this regulation is mainly offered by the metabolic needs of the tissues, okay. And secondly, there is a certain nervous control to regulate the coronary blood flow. But if we go for head-to-head comparison between the two, the primary controller is the metabolism within the heart itself. Okay, nervous control is important, but it is usually overshadowed by the metabolic factors. Well, if we talk about the metabolic control of coronary blood flow, so whenever the tissue metabolism, whenever the heart has to work hard, that is, whenever we are engaged in a certain activity, the cardiac output will increase accordingly, and accordingly, the coronary blood flow too will increase. So this is the demand of the tissue for oxygen that dictates how much increase in coronary blood flow will occur. Okay, whenever the heart is working hard, it is producing a higher cardiac output. The amount of oxygen within the coronary blood within the heart tissue actually suffers a relative decrease. Okay, and this decrease in oxygen content of the blood actually dictates the vasodilatation of the coronary blood vessels and increased flow. In addition, whenever we engage in a physical activity, the rate of metabolism accordingly increases, and as a result of the increased metabolism, a variety of vasodilator substances are produced, like the heart will be utilizing too much of ATP is a source of energy, and that breakdown of ATP will release adenosine, that is a potent vasodilator. It will cause vasodilatation of the coronary blood vessels to increase the blood flow accordingly. Similarly, as a result of increased metabolism, the tissues will produce too much of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions, which too tend to increase the coronary blood flow because they cause vasodilatation of the coronary blood vessels. So here are a few. And to summarize, the level of metabolism, the metabolic rate of the heart actually dictates the increase in coronary blood flow. Well, as we discussed, there is a certain nervous control or nervous regulation of the coronary blood flow itself. The heart has got a rich sympathetic and parasympathetic stimulation. The heart itself and the vasculature are richly supplied by the sympathetic nerves. In comparison, the parasympathetic nerve supply is a bit sparse as compared to sympathetic nerve distribution. So whenever there is sympathetic stimulation, any form of stress, be it mental, be it physical, we have increase in heart rate and the force of cardiac contraction. And this increase in heart rate and contractility actually increases the rate of metabolism. And this increased rate of metabolism secondarily increases the coronary blood flow, as we discussed under the metabolic control. In contrast, whenever there is parasympathetic stimulation, that causes the heart rate and force of contractility to decrease, and there is a resultant decrease in metabolic rate, and that decreases the coronary blood flow. To sum up, sympathetic stimulation indirectly increases the coronary blood flow by increasing the rate of tissue metabolism, and parasympathetic stimulation tends to decrease the coronary blood flow due to a decrease in metabolic rate. Now here we have certain special features of the cardiac muscle metabolism. Unlike other tissues like the brain, the heart preferentially uses fatty acids. Other tissues like the brain use glucose as a source of energy, while the heart preferentially uses fatty acids and indeed derives about 70% of its energy needs from metabolism of fatty acids as a source of energy. Okay. However, during ischemic condition, okay, the cardiac metabolism switches to anaerobic glycolysis. Now here ischemia is a relative term. Whenever we engage in a physical activity, the actual blood supply to the heart may be quite sufficient, okay, but due to increasing activity there is a relative decrease in the blood supply. Okay, the blood supply is otherwise normal, but it is still low as compared to the metabolic needs in that particular setting. So during those conditions, the cardiac metabolism switches to anaerobic glycolysis. Okay, and in this setting, during ischemic conditions, as we discussed, the cardiac metabolism switches to anaerobic glycolysis, and as a result, we consume too much of glucose. While consumption of glucose may not be a problem in such a setting, we usually have enough glucose, but the anaerobic metabolism of glucose in such setting yields large amounts of lactic acid, and that has got practical implications, like during physical activity, we tend to have that sense of fatigue, a subtle chest pain, okay, after a certain level of activity. That is because of accumulation of that lactic acid. That lactic acid tends to cause stimulation of the pain receptors or the nerves, okay, and that gives us a sense of fatigue or chest pain, and accordingly we have to abandon that. Depending upon its severity, we may need to abandon that activity. Okay, the next one is the cardiac muscle use ATPs as a source of energy. Okay, again, ATPs are precious. Okay, but here we are more concerned with what happens when ATPs are used. The use of ATPs after its breakdown yields adenosine monophosphate, diphosphate, and finally adenosine. So that adenosine are the adenosine containing compounds AMP and ADP. They cause coronary vasodilatation. Okay, so on one hand it serves as a source of energy, and at the same time those ATPs give us adenosine to cause coronary vasodilatation and enable us to sustain that physical activity we are engaged in quite effectively. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair.